Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And it's time for your daily dose of Dismal Disney.
Well, there's a little bit of good news.
There is a little bit of good news. Just people like that. And I feel bad because I don't want to be like, hey, we're thrilled that...
But we have some actual, quasi news.
We do. We're going to do kind of a roundup of the movement going on within Disney. There has been some movement in regards to...
movement.
Some would call it a bowel movement.
It would have been funny if you just said there's some movement with Disney, but you said within Disney, which made it something completely different.
The bowels of the mouse are churning.
It amused me so much.
They are. They're actually starting to fire up over at Disney Springs. We're going to talk about that. Universal Orlando is sending out surveys to try to see if people even come down. And then
SeaWorld did too.
SeaWorld did that too, but MegaCon is actually canceled for the summer,
Yes.
which shouldn't surprise anyone.
They're canceled until next year, but they are doing a limited event over Halloween. It's like the 30th of October through November 1st. But they're limiting it to 25,000 tickets overall. And it's 3 days, and it's some special, like Halloween. They're calling it it's like something like limited event or...
Okay, limited time magic.
Something like that.
That's what they're gonna do. You know what they're gonna do at Disney, right? They'll limit it to like 25% of capacity in the parks. They will charge you through the nose for it, and then they'll call it like limited time magic
or limited
something.
magic or something, yes, yeah.
Yeah, you get the whole park to yourself, everybody. This is great, isn't this
Some of
magical?
the rides won't be open, and you'll have to follow all kinds of guidelines, but limited magic.
Limited magic. So before we get into the good dish news, we'll rip the Band-Aid off. We'll talk more about Disney's dismal Q2 earnings report.
We already did.
Well, yeah, but now the Wall Street Journal's even like, I thought this was funny. I had a friend send this over, was like, yeah, hey guys, guess what? Disney's not bouncing back soon.
They're not going to. It's going to get worse next quarter.
Yeah, they're saying that Wall Street has been too optimistic about a quick recovery, and we use Ray for the poster child of Disney. But they're like, oh,
that's funny.
Disney Plus is growing fast. Wishing upon a star.
Oh, that's funny.
This were the projections. This is what's important. There are two schools of thought on Disney. One is that the storied company and its iconic brands have survived numerous economic downturns. That's what Bob Iger was trying to sell everybody on.
Yes, so like our brand is what matters, and we'll still have our strong brand no matter what happens. Sunshine and kittens, it's all great.
It's all going to be magical. This view holds that the company's many fans will return quickly once the pandemic ends. Executive Chairman Robert Iger stressed this on Tuesday, saying, "We believe people will resume familiar activities once it ends." Yeah, but not right away.
Yeah, they will, but they're going to wait until they feel comfortable. Plus the fact that people, the longer it goes, the less money people have. And if they're trying to save their house, they're not going to book a trip.
No. I mean, we had people early on when they announced the stimulus money. They were like, I'm going to use the stimulus money to go to Disney
And
World.
some people still might, because they were, they had their job still.
Right. But a lot of people were like, I'm going to use my stimulus money to try and buy toilet paper. I really don't have time to go or money to go to Disney. Wall Street seems to believe this. And now the Wall Street Journal is going to tell Wall Street why it's wrong. It makes sense.
Oh, and then the blogs will all write articles because, all the articles are wrong. It's not true. It's opening next week.
The analysts are wrong.
They're all wrong.
It was so funny because there were a couple of blogs that were throwing shade at the UBS analyst. And they actually allowed him to speak at the earnings call.
They didn't answer all his questions.
They didn't answer all his questions, but they're like, oh, that guy. Wall Street seems to believe this as well. The analyst projected that revenue is still going to manage 2% growth in the current fiscal year, ending in September.
Maybe, because
Disney Plus,
and then we'll see, because they're I think they might try to open stuff. We'll see what. I'll talk about that more in a minute.
Booking trips a year or two out.
Well, there are bookings are opening now for next year. So people were trying to say about book for next year.
Now they think next year there's going to be 12% growth, whatever. Now,
the more low, isn't it?
Yeah,
if things open back up and it's only 12% growth compared to what's going on now, or
yeah, the share price is down 30%. It's fared better than the peers in theme park, cruise ship, or movie theater categories because Disney is diversified, but they're not diversified enough.
I don't understand this. So wait, they're projecting it's only going to go up 12% next year.
Yeah.
That's a little strange, but okay.
Well, here's the more realistic school of thought. This is the dismal Disney. The more realistic school of thought, reflected by at least 4 analysts who downgraded Disney shares to neutral ratings since March, is that
some downgraded them to sell just recently.
Yeah, I heard about that. They just downgraded sells, like, sell your Disney now. Is that global pandemic is unlike any challenge the company has faced in the past. Media analyst Michael Nathanson said,
I covered that, yeah.
Yep, he said Monday that the current situation creates a significant and unrivaled earnings risk for the foreseeable future. So this is the thing. Disney, their Achilles heel is that they depend on crowds. And we don't know, even if people are like, okay, it's safe to go back to normal, how many people are going to go back to normal right away? You know,
it's going to be a while.
It's going to be a while. It's going to be a couple of years anyway.
But what makes me more nervous is a lot of people, okay, for example, where we're at here, we are in the yellow zone of PA. And because we're in the yellow zone, they're supposed to be reopening a bunch of things tomorrow.
Yeah.
So what I'm very concerned about happening is that everybody's just going to throw caution to the wind, and because they're saying yellow, but you still are supposed to take precautions, and it's still, mitigated, but you're still supposed to do it. Well, you were out today and you're already seeing people not following the guidelines. It doesn't even change till tomorrow, and they're already like not doing it. So I'm worried about the boomerang effect, they call it, where we're going to have this second round, which in most pandemics that happens, and sometimes it's worse than the first round.
Yeah, that is the big question, because people are like, okay, well, we open up in the summer, but people are already talking that this thing could come back in force in like November of this year, and it could be worse because people are getting lax. And yeah, I'm already seeing it. I went to the store now. Everybody was pretty careful for a while, but I just went to the store today, and there were 2 or 3 groups of people at the store without masks, whatever, business as usual. And I was like, seriously? Like, come on, I feel ridiculous. You get these people no gloves, no masks, whatever, touching everything. And I'm there with my gloves and my mask and the whole, like, ready for World War III. And these guys are just like, coughing. I
know. And I'm just saying, like, people can do them. They can do them or whatever how they want to do it. But where we're at, they have still not lifted those guidelines.
Yeah.
It's supposed to start tomorrow, and they're already just like throwing caution to the wind. It's concerning because they're supposed to open things back up as long as you understand you still need to be cautious. And they're already just like, okay, we can do whatever the hell we want now. And if you get that down in Florida, hey, everything's open. Okay.
Florida they're going to push to open because their entire economy in Central Florida is based on travel.
Well, that task force that I talked about before, the Orange County Economic Recovery Task Force, the one person they have that's kind of running it, when he was asking Disney and Universal and SeaWorld when they were reopening, he was stressing how it's so imperative to the economy of businesses around the area that they reopen. And you definitely get a vibe that he was angling for a quicker reopening. And of course, none of them would reply to that and with any concrete information. I can't say anything at this time. But he was really, really, really pushing it. And it was like, dude.
Nobody knows how this thing is going to play out, and that's the thing. We'll talk a little bit about that. MegaCon, have to give a hat tip to Christian Basil, who sent this over, that MegaCon is canceled and rescheduled in a limited edition packaging, and
it's called limited edition.
It's called limited edition. That's crazy. So yeah, June, that doesn't surprise me at all that they canceled it. But
it was supposed to be April, and they moved it to June.
Yeah.
And now, there are some people saying that Disney has been canceling packages and vacations up till June 4th.
Yeah.
Now, it hasn't been really confirmed yet, but they were saying end of May before, and now some people are saying that they're up to June 4th trips are being canceled. So,
Yeah, so this is a pretty good indicator that, people don't think things are going to be back to normal in June or even July. And we're going to talk about Disney Springs opening because this is really, really interesting about that. Now, Universal put this survey out. We'll talk about that in a minute. But Disney Springs is going to do a phased reopening, but Disney is not opening any businesses themselves.
Right. So before everybody gets all excited, Disney's opening. Yes and no. Disney Springs is doing a phased reopening starting on May 20th, but it's going to be select stores, shops, and restaurants that are third-party owned. They're none of the actual Disney ones are opening.
They don't want to take the risk.
No, everybody else can take the risk.
You're the canaries in the coal mine. They're gonna let everybody else take the risk and open their stores, but Disney's not gonna be liable
But this is interesting too, because there was a rumor, which I don't know if it was ever confirmed, that supposedly people were hearing that May 11th they might see City Walk reopen.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's ever been confirmed, not that I ever saw, but it's interesting that that rumor is going around. Here comes Disney, like, oh, we're coming too. They said, a phased reopening of Disney Springs will begin on May 20th. Following the guidance of government and health officials, a limited number of shopping and dining experiences that are owned by third-party operating participants will begin to open during this initial phase. The rest of Walt Disney World will remain closed, including theme parks and resort hotels.
And presumably like World of Disney and...
Well,
and
they're not opening any of their stuff as far as I know. It's all third-party.
That's really interesting.
I thought so too, and I mentioned that.
Because it does tell me that they don't want to take the risk. They don't want to be responsible if something happens. They're like, well, if you guys want to open up the, whatever, Raglan Road or whatever, you go do that. But
we're not taking the risk. So you know what? They did this in Shanghai too. They opened up their shopping area back in March, but they weren't opening their parks until May. So this is good. They're opening some things up, but I don't expect to see any, full openings of anything, at least not in the next month. I would say July at the earliest. Okay, as we continue to monitor conditions and with the health of guests and Disney cast members at the forefront of our planning, we are making several operational changes. Disney Spring will begin to reopen in a way that incorporates enhanced safety measures, including increased cleaning procedures, the use of appropriate face coverings by both cast members and guests, so they're demanding that people wear face masks, limited contact guest services, and additional safety training for our cast members. They said they will also be adding more procedures and information on their site ahead of May 20th.
Yeah, so I think what I'm concerned about with the cast members, okay, is, everybody's like, oh, furloughs. It's not the same as layoffs. We all get, our benefits. We're all going back to work. In Vegas, there were a couple of hotel chains that have flat out said that they are going to discuss the possibility of moving their furloughed employees out of the furlough category and into the layoff category because they don't even have enough money to pay the health insurance.
Mm-hmm. Is that actually promising health insurance?
Yes. I forget which chains it was off the top of my head, but I think that is... I hate to say it's a potential at Disney, but the longer this goes on, they're still paying those benefits out.
Well, we don't have an answer. I mean, it looks like Disney Springs is going to start opening here late May. But like I said, I don't expect the parks to open, they're not going to turn around 2 weeks later and open the parks because they're flat out saying that they're letting this be tested on third party. None of the actual, I think, Disney owned things are going to open, and we saw this already once before Shanghai, and it still took weeks until they felt safe enough, secure enough that they could open it back up. So I'm thinking it won't be, even if you figure 6 weeks, that would be July or August. Something else that's interesting was Universal Orlando put a survey out today, and that people were covering it, and they asked some unusual questions. Let me go back up here. This was actually Tom Corliss from WDW News Today, and some of the questions they were asking were, let me see.
I like how he changed his Twitter name to Tom Unscrupulous.
Here's some of the questions they were asking. They had, these were some weird ones. Which of the following symptoms would you consider to be concerning indicator that someone might have coronavirus?
Oh my God.
Select all that apply. Hallucinations, difficulty breathing, blurred vision, sneezing, loss of smell, sore throat, loss of appetite. I'm not going to read them all.
Just check.
Yes. And then they said, how effective do you feel the following methods are at detecting people who may currently have or have had the virus? And then they talk about, so you can say what you think about, temperature checks, visual checks, rapid, tests, contact tracing. Okay. So then they asked about that. Then they said, okay, now here's where it gets confusing. They said, what do you feel if it would open on August 1st? People are like, oh my God, August 1st. But it turns out that other people got different dates. Some people got July 1st. Some people got December 1st. They asked across the board different dates to get people's responses to it. Another thing they did was they asked about, here's a scenario, how would you feel about this scenario? And then they got 50% capacity. Other people got 75% capacity. Other people got 25% capacity. So the survey was different for different people. It wasn't even the same survey. So people get all excited, August 1st, and that's not what it said because some people got different dates.
Yeah, that sounds to me like they're just spitballing to see what people are going to be comfortable with. Because even if they open it tomorrow again, that doesn't mean people are going to go back. And that's with any theme park.
They asked how soon, and on the SeaWorld one, how soon after opening would you consider returning? And that one question about August 1st, they said, how far after that date would you consider returning?
Long enough to see if anybody else gets sick before I take my family down. That is my answer.
We like Disney and stuff too, and Universal and things. It's our job. It's part of our job. But that even so, I'm not going to risk, my family or other people just to go down there.
Yeah, I think it would be irresponsible to. I mean, I think they're trying to. This is where Disney is in a really bad place, because Universal, it's only 5% of their revenue. Comcast revenue is theme parks. Disney, it's like 35 to 50% of their revenue is the theme parks. The longer these parks are down for Disney, I mean, the more and more dire, it becomes this like domino effect of people look at the situation like, oh my God, Disney's not gonna be able to recover from this. Let's downgrade the stock again, and it just continues to tumble down.
The word of Disney Springs being reopened might bump the stock up, but here's the thing people are missing is the fact that it's third-party stores. So they might get rent money from the stores, but they're not going to be actually making the money off of their products at the same time.
Yeah, and again, we saw this with 9/11 too, where, and it was nothing like, I mean, in regards to just the duration of time, but it did put a dent into Disney for a couple of years. And I mean, I guess the bright side of that is they had all kinds of ridiculous deals. You could go to Disney a lot cheaper than you can now, but they did cancel a lot of projects, and they cut back, and it was
they're going to definitely cancel and cut back this time. They said so.
Yeah, because it was like they didn't do anything for 10 years. I mean, really, they did like nothing. They were building DVCs, but they weren't really doing anything.
I guess the reason I'm hearing, of course, it's speculation and rumor, that I'm hearing about Reflections, the DVC they're continuing, is because the construction company that they was working with Disney wouldn't let them out of the contract.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what I was hearing. Now, I don't know if it's true or not, but the reason why Reflections is still moving forward is because they're kind of locked in, and the construction company's like, tough titty, you're doing it.
Well, that might be the same with cruise ships too. They commission the ships. It might be like
Well, the one I know is really far along.
Yeah, the Wish. I think it's the Wish.
So I don't know if they can get out of it, even if they wanted to. They might have asked, but it doesn't mean that they can, because apparently they asked to get out of Reflections and they couldn't. Like, again, it's all, rumor and speculation, because short of actually talking to them directly and them announcing it, you can't verify it.
Yeah.
But, it is good news that Disney Springs is going to open to third-party stores. That explains why the parking garage is starting to get opened back up.
Yeah.
And people are saying that there are truckloads of, they're having deliveries and stuff at Disney. So that's good. I personally don't think it's going to open until July at the earliest.
I would say July or
I would say August more likely.
Yeah.
At Disneyland, we have no idea what's going on over there. And we already figured Disney World would open first, but it's not going to be completely open. It's going to be limited park, limited what you can do at the park, limited capacity. It's going to be a nut house.
Yeah, and that's and again, they're talking, going back to WDW Magic and Pro, the insider over there, that the plan is basically just open Magic Kingdom at first, just open Disney Springs, because you can contain people better if they're just in the Magic Kingdom and they're not, running around all these other parks.
Here's the good news though. If you wanted to go to Disney, I would recommend that since you have lots more time now, I would just save up a bunch of money and go later nenext year.
Yeah.
I'd go later next year or even the year after, because they're thinking this might even last out for some of these guidelines for 18 months, guys. I mean, it's all, no one knows, because it's unprecedented. It's not like we've had experience in this before and we can all just say we've never had to deal with anything like this in the last 100 years or so.
Yeah.
So if you want to go, I recommend start planning for then. The fact is you can save all kinds of money by then. That gives you lots of time, chance to save up. If they raise prices, it gives you time to... Yeah, yes. You're laughing because it's probably going to happen.
I was going to say you're going to need to save all the money you can.
Yeah, because there's two thoughts on what's going to happen when they reopen. It's either going to be the prices are going to get jacked up considerably because there's going to be limited rooms, and Disney keeps saying, oh, demand will be there when we reopen, and we will have limited spots, and people will fight for those spots is what they're thinking. So either go that way, or it'll go that people are afraid to go and they have to give price breaks. We won't know until it happens, but at least by next year, I think that even this time next year, even the summer next year, I think you'd be okay
Yeah.
book a trip for that. I mean, they'll let you push it. If worst case scenario, you push it back a little further. But that gives you plenty of time to save up money. So if you really want to go, that gives you time to see how the safety is. It gives you time to get your family back in order after all this. It gives you time to, rebound from it. It gives you time to, plan better, see what's out there, what's happening, not have to deal with all the headaches of 25% capacity and who can go and who can't. I would just start saving up and planning for next year if you really want to go.
Yeah, I mean, unless there's an absolute necessary reason for you to go, I just don't. I would wait to see what happens.
Exactly.
Because I'm gonna be really curious to see what happens. And I mean, if you're just you're by yourself or you live in Florida or whatever, that's one thing.
That's different because if you're a Florida resident and you're close by, it's not that big a deal for you to go.
Right, driving in, but I mean, you're talking about families. Not
like most people in the world who have to travel it.
Yes, that's what because that's just part of it. Just because Disney's open doesn't mean people are going to be comfortable getting on a plane. Just because Disney is clean doesn't mean people are going to be comfortable going to the airports.
MCO is going through a whole bunch of stuff to try. They put shields up and they're trying to have increased cleaning measures. I have a whole story on that on the blog as well.
Well, good, because there were a bunch of sick TSA agents and God knows how many people got sick because of it. So unrelated.
Here's Kneon dressed as Dreamfinder with Figment at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween several years ago.
That was a while ago. I lost weight since then.
You did lose weight since then. I noticed that.
Pretty fat in that picture.
Well, you've lost weight since then for sure. But that's Kneon with Figment at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween. But yes, you have lost weight since then.
Yeah. Well, no, it's because the job I was working then, I was in the chair all the. Oh, was that when I was having back problems? I couldn't exercise. Yeah, that's when
That's right after you.
Yeah, I popped a disc and yeah, I couldn't exercise.
This is right before, right after. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, my God, I'm gonna look like Santa Claus when I'm old.
No, you don't. You've lost weight since then. But that was him.
Yeah. So I don't know, guys. We're gonna watch and see. But the longer this goes on, the more cutbacks you're gonna see in other divisions at Disney. I'm half tempted to start like the Marvel Comics Death Watch because I really think that given that they were so quick to pull the plug on comics, I'm like, I don't know, guys. This might be it.
It'll change. I think you're right. That'll probably just be, jobbed out. Or they might, like you said, just not even do them at all because what's the point? They're just interested in the movies.
That is true.
And they got a lot of shit over Safe Space and Snowflake.
Yeah, I know, right? With comics like that, like Disney doesn't have to pull the plug. They'll just kill themselves.
Well, I still can't believe they did that. They didn't think there'd be crap. I mean, I'm waiting for it to be a joke. I still keep waiting for it to have been a joke.
Like it was coming on April 1st.
I really was waiting for it.
Oh, it's a joke. It's just...
Because I could not think anybody in their right mind would think that was okay on any level.
Well, that's it. Anyone in their right mind. In their right mind. Marvel hasn't been in its right mind for years.
Well, neither has Lucasfilm. So.
No, they haven't. So we will see what happens, guys. It's going to be a lot of dismal Disney news, I think, for the next couple
But we did have a little bit of good news, even though
there's a glimmer.
It's just third party.
There's a little bit of pixie dust shining through here.
Shining at the end of every day.
Every day. Yeah, well, somebody said, what was the one article they had? I forget where I read it, but they said, people were waiting for the light at the end of the tunnel. And I think it was another finance blog. They said people were waiting for the light at the end of the tunnel, but they said that light might actually just be an oncoming train coming for Disney.
Oh, that was actually, I think that one I sent you about the one person with their projections, what they thought the parks would be like when they opened. Yeah. I think that was on, I want to say the Orlando Sentinel, but I could be wrong.
Orlando Weekly.
It could have been Orlando Weekly.
I think it was Orlando Weekly. And they were basically like, that light at the end of the tunnel for Disney might just be that oncoming train that runs them over.
Ironically, their train hasn't been reopened yet.
Yeah, it's going to be a while.
It's been down.
So anyway, the 50th anniversary is going to be very interesting.
It will be. This
is not what they were planning for the 50th. It was supposed to be a big celebration and I
don't think this year was what anyone was planning.
No.
And I'm scared if we got murder hornets this month, we'll be able to get next month.
Don't even. We had Australia was burning, and then the murder hornets, and then there was a threat of World War III, and now we got the plague, and it's gonna start raining like frogs. So Squid King's just like, he's like in January, he's like, this year can't get any worse. And he's like, oh my God. Yeah. It's like, I'm afraid to get out of bed. But this too shall pass. Hopefully everybody stays safe. Stay safe. That's the most important thing. Yeah, don't keep in mind, go out and do what you want to do and do you. But just, try to remember to, wash your hands and stay safe because it's going to be, I think people are going to get excited about being out and I think they might, not be as cautious as they should be. Yeah. All right, we're going to wrap this one up. Yep. Okay, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later. Bye. Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.